All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. Special episode of Wow, Look at Me Now. We're sitting here with UFC heavyweight rising star Maurice Greene. We're just gonna get to know him a little bit today and talk about how his camp went leading up to the fight this weekend. How you doing, Maurice?
Oh, I'm doing awesome, man. I can't really complain.
All right, well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you got a busy schedule coming up, and so just taking time out, it really means a lot to us. So we thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So first and foremost, we'll just kind of get into a little bit about yourself. So where were you born and how was growing up for you?
So I was born in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was in the military, so we moved every 3 years. But growing up, where I call home is Broad Albin, New York, a small town in upstate New York. Grew up on 28 acres of land, had pretty much a hobby farm. And, growing up was great, you know. Now, living through it, it's like, it sucks. There's nothing to do out here. But now, I've lived so many places. I've met so many people. I really value where I grew up at, and you know, the friends I've created. Yes, man. Huh? I gotta talk to this guy, okay?
All right.
Yes.
So Albany, New York. So then, how did you find your way?
Broad Albin.
Broad Albin.
Broad Albin. Albany's about an hour away from us.
Okay, Broad Albin.
About 30 minutes outside of Saratoga Springs.
Okay. So then how did you find your way to the Midwest?
Like I said, my dad was in the military, so my parents actually split when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
And we lived with my mom and her girlfriend in Broad Albin, and that's how we ended up there. My dad remarried, and my stepmom from Singapore, and they pretty much settled where my dad did his basic training and retired at Great Lakes, right in Illinois.
Oh, perfect.
So I lived in Gurnee, Illinois, right on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. So I spent some time up there, and that's kind of how I ended up living in Chicago, how the whole MMA thing kind of started. It was on a whim, so.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. What was your first memory of martial arts or sports? Like, what was the first thing you remember seeing as a kid? Like something that really stood out to you? You don't remember anything, no?
I didn't grow up doing martial arts. I didn't like fighting. I was afraid of Like, I played football, and the problem with me in football was I was afraid of the collision.
Okay. Yeah,
you know, I was scared I would flinch at the collision. And growing up, you know, there was a guy, one of my buddies, Lil Tony, rest in peace, Lil Tony, he used to call me Reese Cup. Man, I used to be soft as butter, baby.
Okay.
And one day I had a buddy, you know, I was 330 pounds. He's like, Maurice, you want to fight? I was like, yeah. He goes, you got to go to the gym. So I literally walked into a gym, and 30 days later I hopped in the cage, and you know, to my surprise, 9 years later, here we are doing it as a career, not even a hobby, as a career.
Yeah,
you know, it's my full-time job, exactly.
So you just found it from a buddy, just be like, hey, did he do it at the time too? Was he fighting?
So one of my buddies got me in the gym to do jiu-jitsu, right?
Okay.
And I wrestled for 2 years in high school, but I was never good. You know, I grew 6 inches the summer of my sophomore year, so I really wasn't super athletic, right? I was awkward. I didn't know how to move in my body. You know, I went from being like 5-something to 6'4" in the summer. We're talking. I got out of school my sophomore year. I showed back up. I was 6'4", 6'5".
Wow.
So my high school sport. My brother was a D1 athlete. My high school sports were just shit. And after high school, I gained a bunch of weight. And through MMA, you know, I lost 100 pounds. I got in shape. And, you know, I'm the baddest fucking man on the planet. I believe that, even though. You know, I don't got no belt around my waist yet. You know, I'm the baddest fucking man on the planet, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
That's awesome. So, how old were you when you first had your first fight? So you said you only trained for 30 days, but how old were you at the time then?
24, 25.
How old are you now?
32. I'll be 33. I'll be 33 next July 5th, so next week. I'm a Hall of Fame inductee for the UFC.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I'll be 30.
So,
32, I'm getting old.
Yeah, you've had a lot of experience. You've been in Glory, you've been an Ultimate Fighter. And so what were those experiences like for you?
Glory actually didn't want to do kickboxing. My manager at the time asked me to do it, and I said no, and I didn't want to do kickboxing. And I did like an 8-man tournament. Same tournament Dustin Jacoby, he's one of my teammates. Same tournament Dustin Jacoby did.
Okay.
And I came in, took second place. First time I ever kickboxed. Never had any amateur experience. No nothing.
Oh wow. Okay.
And from there, we went into Glory, and actually I had my debut, and it wasn't that nice. It wasn't that great. Hold on. Hey, I need you to be quiet. Okay? Thank you. I need you to be
You guys
quiet.
want to come sit and watch it?
I love you. Okay. Sorry.
You're good. No worries. No worries.
You want to ask me again?
No, they can jump in. No. it's
Oh,
fine.
you want to come sit with Daddy? Here.
Yeah, she can
Come
jump
sit
in.
with Daddy. How about you come sit with Daddy? Come on. Come on, come sit with Daddy. Come on. Come on. I know. You're tired. No nap.
Oh yeah.
No,
that's a
no.
rough days.
No, but I jumped in, no experience, and I won my first Glory fight. Wasn't impressive. Glory didn't call me for 3 years, and then they called me on a whim one day. Said, "Hey, you want to be an alternate for a tournament?" And I flew out to California, and I put the guy to sleep with a straight left, and that kind of restarted it. And I had a bunch of tough fights. Fought Anderson, Braddock Silva, and some other guys in Glory, and I didn't win some of those tougher ones, but I took Anderson Silva 3 rounds with no experience. He had over 50 fights, and I learned to love kickboxing. Kickboxing it's a different flow than MMA, and it's very hard. You'd be surprised how tired you get in 3 minutes. I'm like, oh, 3 minutes? But so that's how the Glory went, and then from there. The Ultimate Fighter. I mean, once I went on the Ultimate Fighter, and I was knitting when I was crocheting at the tryouts, and everybody was very receptive to it. In the back of my head, I'm like, you know what? I don't know how I don't get on the show. I got everything that all these other guys have, and I crochet, and I'm black, and I crochet. Cut it out.
So with the experiences, so good. I just put good, bad, and would you do it again for the Ultimate Fighter? You have the chance because they always have like a comeback.
If I had to.
Yeah, if you had to.
If I had to.
You do it again.
I mean, I did what I needed to do. At the end of the day, the goal was always to be a UFC heavyweight, right? The Ultimate Fighter, it's either the Ultimate Fighter or the Contender Series, right? If I would have went on the Contender Series, it's a crapshoot. It's either you win, and you may get a contract, or you lose and get no contract, right? They don't get to know you as a person. The good thing about the Ultimate Fighter is, even though they kind of hated me for what was painted up, they got to get to know me.
Right.
So there's some sort of connection when they see me fight,
Right.
And then watching my journey and really hearing the crochet boss, Maurice, how I, they realize that I'm not the same guy really that they saw in the Ultimate Fighter. So I think the Ultimate Fighter was my best way to come in, because I feel like the viewers, the fans, knowing me and watching me fight with how I fight, they kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of they can empathize with me. They kind of like, we can kind of get on the same level versus just watching me fight, saying he got a contract, and then on the flip side of that, the UFC can see what type of marketable athlete they're kind of getting. What are you getting here? You sign these guys off to Contender Series, you don't know what you're really getting marketability-wise. You may get a good fighter, but you and I both know if you want to make money in this game, it's not about being a great fighter. It's about being a marketable fighter and being a good fighter, all wrapped in one package.
Yeah, you got to be the whole deal nowadays.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, you could just fight and get away with it. Like
You
the
could fight.
You have to talk.
Yes.
The thing nowadays, you have to talk. You have to do that whole promos. You have to call out your opponents. You got to get in their face. You got to make people want to watch you fight. And so now you got to be that heel. You know what I mean?
And everything I do is real. Like if I don't like somebody for real, I'm not gonna disrespect them because I don't do that. I'm not gonna go personal because that's just not my style. Everybody has their own style of how they do it, But if I'm saying I'm gonna knock your ass out, and I look at you with a straight stop it, young lady. And I look at you with a you two need to cut it out, please. And I look at you with a straight face, it's real. Like Junior Albini, yeah, I want to put his ass on ice. I'll shake his hand after. Okay, you need to wait, honey. I want to put Junior Albini's ass on ice.
Right.
And I'm sorry.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. Hey, this is exactly what we were hoping for. So, family, man, we know how it
I
is.
need you to stop.
I see you all the time in the car doing live, singing with your kids. So I know exactly how it is, man. I knew exactly what it was going to be like, so no worries at all.
I'm going to spank you. You hear me? Cut it out. Thank you. I love you too. No, Junior Albini, he's probably a nice guy, but my point is, if I don't do it to him, he's going to do it to me. Exactly. So who's going to be first? How do you want to go home to your kids? Because I'll tell you how I want to go home, just like this. So, it's going to be a good one.
Definitely. And so we'll kind of get into your training camp and kind of how that went. But first of all, somebody that kind of helped us do this and somebody that really has helped you a lot in your career is Brock Larson. So how much does it mean for you to have Brock Larson in your corner, and just not only as a fighter but as a person as well?
Brock Larson is probably one of the nicest human beings I know.
I agree with that for sure.
He's very selfless. He goes out of his way to make sure people are taken care of, sometimes even before himself. He'll let you have a bed and sleep on the floor, right? And we're talking about a UFC vet, pretty much every promotion vet, who's been training for years, and he could probably use the bed more than I do. He doesn't care. It's hard to say. I've known Brock for about 5-6 years now, and you know, if it wasn't for him, I probably would have won the Ultimate Fighter. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have left to go to this camp. He sent me out there to do it. He said, Maurice, I've been in your shoes. You need to do what's best for you, and I think this is going to be best for you. I mean, there's not enough good things I can say about Brock Larson. So.
Definitely. And he's one of those guys that, I mean, we live 4 hours away from where Brock is. He comes down one Wednesday every month, drives 4 hours to come down to teach a class. I think he teaches maybe 2 hours at the most and drives back home. Like it's nothing.
And he probably doesn't even drive back home. He probably comes back to sleep at the gym because he has class in the morning.
Probably, I would not doubt it. And I know that he was just out seeing you in Colorado. Flew out the day he got there. He left the airport, came straight to our gym to help us.
Yes.
And it's like, it's one of those amazing things. He didn't even go home. He came from the airport to our gym, then went home.
Yep.
And took care of, like he said, took care of us and made sure he held his bargain or his end of the deal with us, and then kind of went out and then he went home and did all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like he didn't even think about going home. He's like, I'm going to go to these gyms. I owe it to these people because I told them I was going to be there. And he's always a man of his word, and it's something that growing up is somebody who I looked up to as a young guy, Brock Larson, and seeing him in the WEC running through guys, knocking people out left and right, dumping guys on their heads. And I used to call him the Raging Bull for a reason back in the day. You know, then you meet him, he's the nicest guy in the world.
Nicest guy in the world. I mean, when he gets mad, I wouldn't want to be in his way. You know, I wouldn't want to be that guy. He's one of those guys that, you know, if you see Brock in his rare form of being mad, which if you make Brock Larson mad, that means he must have done something really bad. Because he can let a lot of things roll off his shoulders. But like I said, I can't say enough good things about Professor Brock. And, you know, it means a lot to me for, you know, him to be my jiu-jitsu coach and hopefully one day hand me my black belt.
For sure, yeah, definitely. That's something that we're all kind of hoping for. And he actually gave our coach his black belt as well, so we're all in the same family. We're all in the same Start BJJ family, so it's awesome to see how small the world really is when it comes to stuff.
Help me.
So, like we were talking about, Brock sent you out to camp. He's one of those guys that, like you said, he's selfless, and he always knows that he can only get you to a certain point, and then he knows you gotta go somewhere else. He knows you don't have the big enough training partner, especially heavyweights. It's hard to find good training partners, good athletic guys. Because growing up, we always kind of said that heavyweights are either really, really good or they're really, really bad. It's, you know, there's very few middle ground. It's either shitty or you're really good. And you got to kind of find that. And especially being a guy like you who came up and all of a sudden you were just like, oh shit, I'm in the face of everybody now. I'm the ultimate fighter. What do I do now? I can't just train. You know, Brock's like, hey, you're not going to train here. This is going to work for you. So he sent you out to Colorado. And I know at first you were kind of going to shop around a little bit at places.
I planned on it.
But you went to Colorado your first stop and you stayed there.
Pretty much.
So what happened with that? How did you? What kind of made you? What was the thing that made you stay there?
I wanted to go to a couple places. They wanted me to go to Factory X, right? But I always like to keep my options open. I don't really like to commit to one thing. I like my freedom to be able to move how I want to move. You know, regardless of my manager, my coach. I've always been that guy. I like to move how I like to move. That's just how I am. And so I went out there first because that's where they wanted me to go. I didn't know a whole lot about Mark Montoya or Factory X. You know, they were doing great things. And I went out there. They welcomed me with open arms. The first thing I noticed is the environment, the atmosphere that Mark Montoya creates with all those guys. And it's one of those things where it's like, check your fucking ego at the door. You know, check your ego out the door. We don't want to hear. You know, you got guys like Anthony Smith. You got Dustin Jacoby. You got Chris Camozzi. You got Ian Heinisch. God damn it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Get up here and sit down, Olive. Get up here and sit down, Olive. This is what I'm talking about. All right, let me finish.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no,
You got guys like Ian Heinisch, and you got all these low-level pros on the come-up. Olive, you're going to cut your foot on that. And you would think there's some sort of ego, right? But no, everybody's super helpful. Everybody wants to see everybody get better. They want to see the team shine. I mean, even Anthony Smith, that just fought for a title. He's, you know, some of these guys you meet in the UFC are just total dicks, you know?
Right.
And they think they're above everybody, and maybe they are, whatever. But I didn't get that feeling there. And stuff like that is infectious, like it's contagious, it's infectious. And then you meet Mark, and you figure out what Mark's about, and you figure out what their team is about.
All right. So this was your first actual real camp that you've been to. I know you said in an interview that you kind of did little camps, but nothing at this level of a camp.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you, and how does that build your confidence going into this fight?
Man, it's just I didn't know how it would feel, you know. In the back of my head, I thought I'd be burnt out. I thought by the getting closer to the end of camp, you know, when I was in the Ultimate Fighter House, when I was about to fight Juan, I just stopped. My body just said, you know what, I'm done. Fuck it. I'm not doing no more. I did enough. Seriously. And that's why I told the coaches, and they made me do whatever, and I said, okay. But it was weird. Close to the end of the camp, I was fine.
Dad was touching me.
Don't say nothing. Don't touch each other. Hush.
Dad was touching me.
Okay. Hush. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. I'll give you a treat when we're done. If you can, who can be quiet the longest, you get a treat. Deal? Deal. Sit back. So this camp was weird for me. Like towards the end of the camp, I felt great. Like I felt like towards the end of the camp, I was growing, getting stronger, and feeling better and better and better and better and better. And I think it's because of just the schedule and how they put together the camp, how we work. You know, it's not about do everything until you're absolutely exhausted forever, and you gotta work. No, it's scheduled times to go in there and work your ass off, but then there's also time for active recovery. There's also time for strength conditioning, and you know, I'm not sure how they came up with the formula, but the formula they have at Factory X is just absolutely amazing. And I guess Saturday we'll see. I mean, I feel great, right? Saturday, you know, I'm Mark Montoya's puppet. We just gonna go out there and you know, follow the game plan. He's telling me when I'm there, you know, you gotta trust in the game plan. I'm gonna trust in the game plan, and I'm just gonna let it go. You know, like Joe Warren said, I'm gonna go out and get some stitches Saturday. You know.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. So you were out there and you said you were working out like Chris Camozzi, Anthony Smith. Like, what was it like mixing it up with those guys? At first, were you kind of a little intimidated, and you're like, oh, I can hang with these guys?
You know, there's a sense of, at first it was a little nerve-wracking, like this Anthony Smith just fought John Jones and Chris Camozzi. He'd have been took 20 fights in the UFC. Like, damn, bro. And Dustin Jacoby, he fought for a world title in kickboxing, and, you know, and but then when I was an Ultimate Fighter, Uriah Hall said something. Me and Uriah were sparring, and Uriah stopped me. He looks at me and goes, Maurice, stop me. I said, what? He goes, you're respecting me because of my name. He goes, listen, I'm a body in front of you. Stop respecting me. Spar. Let's go. I'm just like every other person. And from that moment on, I realized that, you know, I was doing better against him because, you know, I was giving him too much respect. Not to say that he's not a great striker, because he's good at striking. But he was just saying, don't go in there with so much respect. Go in and play your game. And once I started doing that more, you know, the rounds went better. I mean, Chris Camozzi's just a fucking tough guy.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's a beast.
There's no way around it. Chris Camozzi is a tough guy. Anthony Smith, another tough guy. You know, he's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I think Chris Camozzi's a brown belt. They've been through this. They've been through the trenches. They got a bunch of experience. So there's a certain bit of hanging with them. You know, you take small wins. So out of a sparring session, I'll take a small win.
Right.
You know, let's not get in that position again. Or how many times can I get up? Can I get back to my feet? Or how long can I hold them in a dominating position to get a couple strikes? You know, those are the small wins I tried to get against those guys. Instead of saying, hey, you know, let's just go out and beat them everywhere. You're not going to beat them everywhere.
Right.
You have to focus on one little part, and then if you can get to a point where you're beating those guys there, and then it's it's more. Dustin Jacoby, that's another guy. He fought for a glory world title. He knows how to fucking kickbox. So you sparring with Dustin Jacoby, even though I'm a heavyweight and I'm much bigger, he knows how to use range. He knows how to use leg kicks. He knows how to use a lot of things. And I was able to learn something from each one of those guys in every one of those positions. And and that's the goal. If I can go out there and learn a couple things and add them, I think of MMA and fight like this, right? You got this big ass tool belt, right? So you go to these different places, you get these different looks. If I can walk away and take one of your tools and throw it in my tool belt for a later date, I'm gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
Let's put it this way: I got a whole new set of tools. I got a whole, like you buy a block of knives. I got a whole block of tools that I just got. I didn't get to just take one thing. I took a lot, and we're gonna build more and more and more.
This is the beginning.
Exactly. We're, like Mark said, we're just scratching the surface. We didn't really have that much time together.
Right. How long was your fight camp for this fight?
I was there for a week and a half trying it out, and then I went back for 5.5 weeks. So a total of 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
I went through the trenches with those guys, and I busted my ass day in and day out. And
I seen you running all. I mean, I try to watch your lives at least for a minute if I can get on there. I try to watch as much as possible. And I see, like I said earlier, I see you sing with your kids and all that stuff. So it's awesome to watch you and see that person. I've been trying to get this interview with you since the very first time we started this podcast. Yeah, I talked to Brock and I was like, yo, I want to get some of your guys on. I know Mo's at the Ultimate Fighter right now. When he gets out, I want to get him. I want to get Tony. I want to get all these guys that are out here because we're from Minnesota. We got to stay to our own. There's not a lot of guys right now in Minnesota. It's not like the heyday back when we had Shirk and all these crazy guys out there. Right now, we just have a small group of guys that are in here. We really got to support all these people.
Exactly.
They're the ones that are really going to bring the eye to Minnesota, bring them the UFCs back to Minnesota.
Correct.
It's not going to be Junior Dos Santos. It's not going to be those guys. They're going to go to Brazil for those guys, but they're going to come back to Minnesota for guys like you, guys like Tony, guys like Dan Moret, the guys that are really here pushing it and representing Minnesota. And so I respect that so much. As a guy who grew up in Minnesota, fought in Minnesota my whole life, it's awesome to see the UFC come back for guys like you that are now kind of pushing and getting to that next level.
Appreciate it.
It's awesome. And it's cool to, like I said, I watch all your videos, I see you here, and so what does it mean for you, like we were kind of talking about it, what does it mean for you to be fighting right here in Minnesota?
Gosh, I'm not from Minnesota, but my fiance's from here, born here. My daughter is born here, and my son is damn near Minnesota. He moved here when he was 2 or 3.
Okay.
He's like 7 now. So, man, just, I mean, for the state of Minnesota and for Minnesota MMA, to be a driving force, at the spearhead of that, as somebody who lives here, and hopefully give everybody else that's fighting to do the same thing. Hope that these Minnesota guys are going to come and wreck shop. It feels awesome. It feels awesome. I just at the end of the day, I mean, I went through a lot. I went through a lot, just mentally, physically, life, all that shit. At the end of the day, I want to take all of that bullshit I've done, all that stuff I've done, and just be an inspiration for any and everybody who wants to get into it. If I can do it, we're talking about a man who was 330 pounds, I drank every day. At one point in time in my life, it was like you live only one life. I was doing a bunch of drugs, I was partying, to literally turning around. We had hiccups here and there. We're not all perfect.
We all have trials and tribulations.
Yeah, we're not all perfect, but that's what makes the end result. That's what makes that product, right? But to be able to stand here and think that, I walked into a gym and told them I was going to be in the UFC, and some people kind of laughed at me. I mean, I kind of laughed at me. I'm going to be honest with you. And now I'm looking at myself as, I'm on my way to being one of the heavyweights in the division. It's a little amazing. Sometimes I catch myself, like when people say, like when you say stuff like, man, I wanted this interview. Sometimes I catch myself, it's like, damn, really? And I don't know if it'll ever be at some point like, yeah, I know you want this interview. I just think that's just not me.
Humble.
Yeah, in a way, I can be humble. When I don't like somebody, ain't no humble, ain't nothing humble, ain't no humble pie.
Right.
You ain't getting a slice of
that
no
little bit
humble
of
pie.
Ultimate Fighter,
Yeah, you ain't getting no humble pie. I actually didn't like Juan.
Right.
Juan did me dirty. I didn't like Juan.
Yeah, you heard that. You guys thought you were friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was some bullshit.
Yeah,
that was some straight bullshit. And but that was some Ultimate Fighter beef. You know, I'm a grown ass man. We got all of our outlets now that we didn't have in the house. You know, so yeah. Sometimes you get the humble pie, but sometimes you get that mean guy, and sometimes I say shit to just hurt, to cut. So that's how I am. And you got a problem with it, you come see about it.
Right.
You know,
yeah. That's what makes you a fighter. You're not going to back down. You know, when you're in that cage, you're going to see what's up. You know, I'll be nice to you before or after, but if you rub me the wrong way, I'm not going to be nice to you for no reason. There's no real reason for me to be nice to you. You're not my friend. I got no friends. You know, I don't need more friends.
I don't need new friends.
Exactly. That's so perfect. That's what kind of makes it, I think, for a fighter as well, is like, we've got our guys. We know who's got our back. You're never going to have my back. You're always going to be looking at me, and whether you say good stuff to me or not, you're always in the back of your head going to think bad stuff about me because you want to be where I'm at, or you want to beat me and get above.
The guy you see in my corner, the dark, little dark chocolate.
Yeah.
T-Billy, he also makes all my walkout music. Actually, I knew.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, if you ever hear my walkout music, it's all done by my corner man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's there for. There's no coaching, no coaching enhancement by having him there. He's literally there for moral support. He's been there since day one.
That's awesome.
He used to get my sponsors, and as I'm following this journey, he deserves to be a part of it in his way as well. And you know, that's my homie. You know, I got a small group, a small circle of people, a couple from Minnesota, a couple from here, a couple from there that I fuck with, but I don't got time for new friends. I mean, I'm at a point now where I feel like new friends is just, I don't think it's for the right reason.
Right, definitely.
Unless they got more money than me. Then maybe it's for the right reason. You know?
I mean, you got kids, you got a family.
Yeah, I got friends right there. I got two of them.
Yeah, that's your
I get to yell at them friends.
Luckily, they can't yell back yet.
You ain't seen OG.
Not yet.
Oh, she's sassy.
That's awesome. So we were talking to us a little bit about it. Something you do that, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows now is you crochet. So how did you get into crocheting? You're the crochet boss, but how did that start? Where did you first start crocheting? Like, who introduced you to that?
So this goes back to my fat boy days. I was actually doing had a clothing company called Monkey Business Decor, and tattooed on my wrist it says "Die Free, Live Fresh" because that was our tagline at the time, and that's where the blood diamond came from. That was a clothing line I was into as well, and or it said blood diamond, dead fresh. Actually, that was the other tagline. But anyway, we just wanted to do something different. We were an urban clothing line, like a kind of a sneakerhead, and like the little small boutiques where they sold all the new fresh sneakers that came out, hard to get, and we wanted to do something different. This girl came to my job, and she had a knitted scarf, and she was knitting. And I asked her, I was like, man, that's dope. What if we made those? So we ended up going to Joann's on my lunch break. I got knitting needles. She taught me how to knit at work. So then, at the time, I was living in Illinois, and I was taking the train, the Metro train. I had to go to the city an hour to come back out to Waukegan. It's about 2 hours because I didn't have a license at the time. And about 30 minutes if I drove a car, but it was 2 hours, so I would do it on the Metro. You know, so I would knit on the Metro. And then, you know, people started asking me, well, how do I get one of those? What do I do? So I started selling them, and then I met my fiance shortly after that. And when I met her, we had got together, moved to the city, and we lived in Lincoln Park. She was like, babe, let's try to crochet, it's faster. So I had a computer, got on YouTube, how to crochet, and I learned how to do just a basic stitch. And I guess the rest is history. I was crocheting more, and then I started to learn stitches and learn patterns and learn how increases work and now, you know, I can pick up yarn and I can finish a hat probably an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I heard one of the best quotes, or I seen one of the best quotes. I think Henry Hoof said it. He said it has some shit that it has to do with like I can crochet a hat in an hour and a half, right? But it's taking me 9 years to be able to crochet that hat in an hour and a half. You're paying for that 9 years it took me to do that, not the hour and a half. That's why you're paying $70. You got to pay for that 9 years that I had to get my speed up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's kind of how. Sorry. That's kind of how. That's how I got. That's how kind of how I got into the crocheting. But nowadays, man, it's very. I mean, I meant to bring yarn out with me here because I usually always bring yarn during fight week because for fighting it, it allows me to take my mind off of the situations in the fight. Every situation that you go through, every fighter does it. I don't care who you are. You're gonna go through situations like, all right, well, what if this happens? Well, you know, you're gonna get to a point. You're gonna get to a point where sometimes you get too far in your head when you just need to go out there and be loose and have fun and do your job. You know, and it allows me to take my mind off of all of that, because when you're crocheting, the only thing you need to worry about is where's that needle gonna go, what type of stitch you're gonna crochet. Do you want to do a front loop, back loop, front post, back post, double, single, half double, you know, so, and there's a lot of different variations, and, you know, you get different, I don't know, I'm a beast. That's at the bottom line, I'm a beast. My stitches are impeccable. There's only the crochet boss, and that's just me. There's a lot of pit bulls and all that. There's only one, the crochet boss, people. It don't get no better than this.
That's what's up. So, let's see, Glory Kickboxing vet, Blue Belt in Jiu-Jitsu, Tough vet, let's see, Ultimate Fighter vet. So what's next after you win this fight? What do you want to step up after this fight? Where do you see yourself going after this fight?
I mean, I'm not going to throw out no names, but somebody's getting called out.
Oh, you already got somebody in mind?
I got a couple.
Okay,
so,
so you kind of already have an idea where you're
I mean,
going.
it really doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, closed mouth don't get fed in this game. You know, I've had a couple fights. It's my third fight. You know, I plan on going 3-0. I'm going 3-0. I'm going to be 3-0 in the UFC. 3-0 is 3-0 no matter how you cut it.
Right.
It's a good way to start off your UFC career. I know I'm a marketable heavyweight. I know in due time I will be the best in the world. Like I said, I'll say that again. In due time, I will be the best in the world. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just, again, you know, it's the mental mixed with the physical and the right combination of coaches to get you there. And I think I'm finally at a point in my life where I'm ready to fully say, you know what, this is it. It's crazy to say I've had 2 UFC fights and I kind of half-assed both of them in a way, right? But I made it through, right? I didn't half-ass shit when it came to this fight.
Right.
Nothing was half-assed.
In the fight, yeah.
No, nothing was half-assed in the camp.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nothing was half-assed in the camp, and that's gonna pay dividends. And you know, hopefully the UFC knows that they got something. You know, they got something. They didn't spend all that money on me on Ultimate Fighter to not get nothing out of it, right?
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah, that's awesome. So you said again you're gonna be the best heavyweight champion, the best, right? So at the end of your career, what do you want people to remember Maurice Greene? When they talk about you, what do you want them to say? What do you want them to remember the most about you?
I just want to remember my personality. Remember, you know, I come from humble beginnings. I never forgot where I came from. You know, maybe most people want to say, I want to remember my legacy. You know, life is not about really winning or losing. You know, you take a lot of L's, and no, we don't take no L's. We take a lot of learning experiences in life. Half the time is how you bounce back from those learning experiences. I will be a world champion one day, but that's not what I really want to be remembered by. You know,
That's a personal goal.
That's
a personal goal.
Yeah, I'd like to I'd like to do a little more of my crocheting, and you know, I'm a man for one, athlete for two, who does something that a lot of people don't do, and there's probably a lot of people that crochet that just don't want to be out. And you know, bro, you crocheting, you making dope shit. Be proud, stand by your work, be proud of what you make, be proud of what you made out of nothing. I have hats I've had for 10 years. So, you know, kind of see what the crochet community offered me. You know, Lion Brand reached out to me, and I'm looking forward to working a lot more with that yarn company, and they like what I'm doing on social media. So, I just want to be known for those type of things, you know. The older I get, now that I got kids, it's like, maybe I'll do a little more community things. I've been just super focused. I didn't grow up with a whole hell of a lot, you know. And yeah, a lot of this is motivated by money. Yeah, because I don't want to fucking go back to work. You know, I walked away from my job a couple years ago. I don't plan on going back to work. You know, I plan on doing things on my terms. So yeah, a lot of it's money motivated, but it's gonna get to a point in my life where it's like, Maurice, you got enough money. What's next? You know, what are you gonna do? What is your calling? And I kind of want to get those ducks in a row now and set up that retirement plan. You know, I also want to be an analyst. So I'm 32. How much time do you have in the game? Luckily for me, I don't have all the miles on my body that some of these other guys do. So I started at 24 with really no miles. So I may be able to run a little longer than some of these guys and be healthier when I'm in my prime. You know, some of these guys get to their prime and they're shot. You know, I'm to my prime and I'm a fresh chick. I'm a spring chicken, baby. I'm good to go. So I'm just excited to be a part of the UFC's roster and become a big part of the roster, not just a piece of the puzzle. I want to be half of the pie. You know, I'm a heavyweight. Heavyweights always make the most money. What's up?
Most exciting.
What's up? Pay me.
That's what's up.
But in order to get paid, you got to do what? Perform. So I got to give them a reason to pay me.
Saturday night, that's your reason, right?
That's gonna be another reason for them to pay me. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, first of all, I just want to thank you for taking your time out. Who do you have to thank for anybody you got to thank for, you know, just out there?
Oh gosh,
doing that stuff.
First and foremost, I want to thank my fiance, Kaya. Love you, honey. You know, you guys see me doing everything I'm doing. There's somebody that needs to take care of these two little monsters here and deal with all that. I don't know if you just saw what I just dealt with, but that's every single day. So I want to thank you, babe. Thank you. You know, I was gone for 5.5 weeks. She held it down at the crib. You know, I want to thank my coaches, of course, Mark Montoya, Factory X. Unconditionally thank, you know, the Professor Brock Larson. You know, a lot of this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Brock. And yeah, I could have still got there, but you know, Brock really got the gears turning. He really put a lot of things in motion to kind of help me out, in addition to making my jiu-jitsu skills fucking awesome. And then, you know, I want to say, you know, the very few sponsors I have, Balance CBD, you know, they make sure I'm right. You know, they sent me a big package in Colorado to make sure I had all my CBD needs while I was out there, and it's working. I'm sleeping better. I take it religiously. I mean, I guess that's about it for me. I probably miss some people. If I miss you, my bad. I didn't mean to miss you. I love you. I just couldn't think. You know, he gave me all the questions. I gave them back to him and said, "I'm gonna just run with it because I'm a talker and I think I can make it work."
Hell yeah, you definitely made it work. So where can everybody find you? Like social media, where's all that at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Crochet Boss. If you can't spell crochet, it's TheCrochetBoss. On Instagram and Twitter. If you're on Facebook, go to it's facebook.com/the Crochet Boss fan page. You know, everything that's coming up is going to be there. I know there's a lot of people who've been reaching out to me for t-shirts and hats and this. We will have a store up soon. We do got the logo already. We just need to make sure everything's just right. Like I said, I used to do a fashion line, so I just want to make sure when my line hit, the shit is popping. So, yeah, and I want to thank everybody in Minnesota who's going to be coming out to the fights and come enjoy the atmosphere. And, you know, I get to kick off the card. You know, I get to set the tone. So, like I did on The Ultimate Fighter, we're trying to set the tone in that way.
Hell yeah. So, again, I just want to thank Brock Professor Brock for hooking us up and letting us actually come here. And again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy and you got the little ones with you.
I'm not busy. Anytime you guys want to come see me to do this shit was fun. I'll do this.
We're going to do it again then for sure. That's awesome.
I'll do it again.
After you win, we're going to come back and get you then.
Fine.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hell yeah. That's a date then.
Fine.
And so, big thing before we get out, I just want to thank our sponsors real quick, Precision Detailing. You can find them at Precision Detailing LLC on Facebook, as well as Gone Clothing. You can find them at Gone, Gone Clothing on Facebook and Instagram. And then the Melting Clock, who is also my CBD sponsor and helps me out with all of my recovery and everything else. So you can check them out on Facebook and Instagram at the Melting Clock. Big thanks again to Maurice and the little ones here for staying with us. And it really means a lot to have you on here. And you're a great guy. And I really appreciate it. Again, great, good job or good luck this weekend. Got me all nervous now at the end here. It's the first time I actually interviewed somebody that's really important to me, so it means a lot. Man.
Hey,
so
I appreciate
it. Really
that.
does mean a lot. So, best of luck to you in your fight coming up, and we'll definitely get you back on again. So I appreciate everything.
Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate it.
Thank you guys. All right, we'll see you guys later. Thank you.